What's going on YouTube? OCD for EDC here. And what I got for your face balls tonight is a response to a tag, an open tag that Metal Complex put out for past, present, and future of the knife community. So it's a little throwback to Charles Dickens with the spirit of Christmas past, present, and future. Thought it was a cool idea. I watched Big Red EDC's video and also Blade Banker. He put out a really great one. Both those guys did an awesome job with their response to this, and so it seemed like a good time. So I figured that I would throw one out there as well. So my my past in the knife in the knife world, I think, can be summed up by this knife right here. So, those of you, I'm sure a lot of people know exactly what this is. And if I hold it right there, it looks okay. And so this is a Kershaw leak. And this will start to show you kind of how I used to treat tools and what I used to do for a living. My life has changed drastically since those days, but let me show you here. So this particular leak, as you can see, has been beat to shit and back. It's missing the little lock piece here. Tore the clip up years and years ago. I don't remember how old this thing is, but it is definitely an old one. And oh, yeah, beautiful. So, so you can see a couple of things there. One, oh, there we got her. You can see that it is absolutely missing the tip of that blade. It has been sharpened. I couldn't even tell you how many times. A bunch of times. So, I used to be really, really, really hard on knives. I did industrial construction. I traveled around the country building ethanol plants. And so, yeah, I was hard on tools, broke them often. Prior to this, I had a scallion. I had several different knife models that I lost, got broken, left somewhere. So I just wasn't nice to tools like this at all. I would use them until they were complete garbage, throw them away, and go buy another one. So, and over the years, I also had a stint that I used multi-tools. This one here I carried for quite a while. This one, I don't even remember the name. Oh, it says right on it. Switch plier. So this is a SOG switch plier. It's kind of cool. It still functions well. You push that button and you have spring-loaded auto pliers. And then this really is the plier is the main star here, because although there are tools in the handle, I can't even remember how many tools are in here, but you get a few tools, and certainly you got a blade and a Phillips screwdriver head and a couple different flat screwdrivers, and yeah, there's a handful of things going on in there. There you go. So you can kind of get an idea of what we got going on this multi-tool here. But I carried this guy for quite a while. As far as multi-tools go, it's fairly slim. It's still heavier than hell. It does have a pocket clip on it. And again, you can see it's pretty beat up, and, finishes wore off of it and all that sort of thing. But, this one's actually not bad if you're looking for mainly pliers, is what this guy is for. And then, of course, you got cutters in there, but they do not have replaceable jaws like a lot of the Leatherman stuff. I did have the Leatherman Crunch, I think it was called. It was like vice grips. And then that one I lost years ago, or it got stolen or something. And then I also have this SOG tool here that came with the leather sheath. Carried this a little bit, not as much. I carried this more. I think I got this for a Christmas gift or something. So anyway, I always had some sort of Swiss Army knife. This came from my grandfather, not this one, but carrying a sack. My grandfather always carried a Swiss Army knife, and he would have the big old, that had like 30 tools in it. I don't even know what models those are. I'm not real big into Swiss Army knives, but my grandfather always had a big ass Swiss Army knife in his pocket. And so, when I grew up, I just thought that I should always carry one. And so this one I've had for quite some time. I don't know how long I've had this one, but this is the one that's got the fingernail clippers in it. I actually use these all the time. Little hangnails, little pieces of skin, whatever. It's great. And of course, it's got the toothpick and tweezers. And then on the other side, you got a nail file and then the little pen blade. So pretty small, and this thing pretty much I carry every single day. But even years ago, I always had a sack that I carried, whether it was the classic or something just a little bit bigger like the Tinker or something like that. And I, basically just use them until they'd break, break the blade off of them or something, do something dumb with them. So yeah, always carried a sack for many, many, many years. And then I've had a few different back locks. Both of these happen to be Cutco knives, which is kind of interesting, just like the kitchen brand. And as you can see, these things have seen better days. I'm pretty sure, I was looking at this one, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. You can see the top of the plastic on this guy is all chewed up. I did carry this one quite a while. It was just a little, like fifth pocket. I never carried, just threw it in my pocket, little back lock knife. And it's got their D-shaped serration, whatever. I can't remember what they call it, but I'm pretty sure this is from opening beer bottles, holding them and doing that whole deal. Wasn't nice to that. I was trying to think of why that was all chewed up there, and that's the only thing I can come up with, is I must have used it to open bottles. And then got another one here. This is also a Cutco, same deal. It's got the same D-shaped serrations that their claim to fame, but again, it's scratched all to hell and beat up. And so just for a little size representation, I think most people are going to know what a leak is. So about the size of a leak, and then that small one is quite a bit smaller, little bitty guy. So, and then this one here is my wife's, but the Kershaw Blur. This one was gotten for my wife as a joke. So it says "watch yourself" on the blade, which is kind of funny. But I did have a Kershaw Blur for quite some time, years ago. So again, just, tore it up, broke it. I don't even remember what happened to it, but years ago had a Kershaw Blur. So I pulled this one out just for some reference in the video. The funny thing is I did purchase this knife many years ago. So most of you are going to know exactly what this is. This is a mini grip with the sheep's foot blade. It's sporting 154 cm blade steel. And I got this knife for my wife. I wanted to buy a Benchmade for myself. I just couldn't bring myself to spend that kind of money, because I think back then, I don't know, I think the prices were probably pretty similar to what they are today. I can't remember. This thing's probably somewhere between 5 and 10 years old. I don't remember exactly, but at least 7, I'm sure. And as you can see, it's perfect. My wife has kept this in the bag, in her purse, or in her car for all those years. She uses it quite often. But as you can see, she uses it to open boxes or whatever. She may, cut a thread off here or there, whatever. I have sharpened it a few times. I have tuned it up a couple times. Otherwise, it's perfect. But I just couldn't bring myself to spend that kind of money on a knife when this was its fate. So, and then, you know, just junk stuff like this. Excuse me. When I was looking to pull out some older knives, I found these things, and I don't think I ever carried these. I don't know. This one here is branded Winchester. I don't even know where this shit came from. This one's branded Redhead. You know, so there's some sweet rainbow steel. Yeah, so I didn't carry either one of these. That actually reminds me, years ago I had a Gerber paraframe as well. But, so, you know, you can see this is kind of my knife past, if you will. With the exception of this, I actually carried this today. So that'll carry over to the present. So we're going to get this stuff out of the way. And we're going to go to the present. So, I'll put that up there. All right. So in the present, you know, you guys see a lot of my knives. You know, one of my favorites is the Manix 2. Gotta throw a TwoSun in there. The TS-127. The Civivi Shredder. Great knife. The Hogue. This is the X5 manual. And, you know, just several knives that I think, you know, are really popular today. You know, I don't have necessarily one style that I just always stay in that lane. You know, I really like front flippers. So, you know, this TwoSun right here, the TS-129, is one that I've been carrying quite a bit. I really enjoy this knife. It's a great knife. You know, if you haven't checked out the review on this guy, you should. It's a good one. And this is just a fantastic knife. It's so comfortable in hand. Blade shape's great. Loving the front flipper. Action's fantastic. And with that kind of keyhole blade opener, or, you know, opening aperture there, whatever you want to call it, it works well. It does all the stuff, and it does it all well. Just a great knife. So, you know, love some TwoSuns, American-made stuff. You know, obviously, you can see with the mat, I'm a pretty patriotic person. However, you know, I like quality things, and TwoSun is definitely building quality stuff. So, yeah, you know, I enjoy all kinds of knives. One of the new knives that I got, newer, is this beast right here. So this is a Tod Bodega Steelcraft Bodega, and yeah, just a really cool knife. And the lighting's not the greatest here, but you can see it's blue and silver, partially coated blade, really sweet knife. So really digging that guy. But all of my knives are users. I've gotten a little more interested in modern traditionals just as of late, you know, maybe the last year or so. And this one here is one of my favorites in that category. And this is the TwoSun TS-129. This is a Jelly Jerry design. If I can get my camera and lights to cooperate here. Come on. Are you kidding me? Man, this camera setup, this thing just does not want to focus. It's ridiculous. Well, oh, right as I start to go away. So anyway, Jelly Jerry design. There you go. This one's an M390. Titanium handle. Pocket clip that is reversible, which is super cool. And, you know, so you've got this really traditional slip joint design here with, I guess not a traditional design, but, you know, it's a slip joint action with the really positive half stop. Action's really great. You got a nice comfortable pull there to get the blade out. You know, functionality is really good, and you know, it's ergonomic in the hand. But it's made with all modern materials. You got this really great milling pattern on the scales that's really fantastic. And yeah, I mean, it's just a great knife. And so I kind of dig the modern traditional thing. If you know, going out to dinner, that sort of thing, just a little bit of a classier deal. You know, I mean, this is obviously a classy knife too, but whipping this guy out in the middle of a fancy dinner, most people in that setting aren't going to say, oh man, that was a classy knife that guy had. Most people, when they hear that thing, they're going to go, holy shit. But you know, with this, a little slip joint, two-handed opener, yeah, most people aren't going to think too much of that. But so you get the feel of a modern knife, you get the look of a modern knife, but the action of a traditional that really isn't going to scare anyone. But you know, you have some design elements here that are, you know, high speed, low drag, whatever you want to call it. You know, you got this little poon up here that, yeah, I certainly love the blade shape on this guy. You got the fuller there with a bloodletting groove with the bloodletting holes. So, you know, it's cool. I dig it. I think it's a cool knife. And like I said, in certain settings, you know, these are my go-tos. At this point, I've got, you know, 8 or 10 slip joints that have pocket clips, and I like them. They're cool knives for sure. So one knife that I've kind of gone back to recently that, yeah, is this guy right here. This thing is so good. I don't care what what knife you find, nothing as far in the flipper category is going to beat the action on this knife right here. And for those that are not familiar with this knife, this is the upgraded version or sprint run, whatever you want to call it, of the original of this guy was the Buck 830, I think. The Buck Marksman. I think it's 830. Anyway, the original version was aluminum scales. I can't remember what the blade steel was on the original. However, this one here is by SK Blades. This one's called the Inferno. And you can see the orange kind of popping through here on these grooves. This originally, these handle scales are G10, and this originally was Blaze Orange. I dyed this with dark gray. And I actually just had a guy ask me about this the other day on YouTube. But I used hot glue actually to fill in these lower spots, all these channels. And so then I dyed the scales for like 15 minutes or something in boiling water. Just so you're aware, 200-degree water isn't hot enough to melt hot glue. So if you want to kind of do some color fading, that sort of thing. So I was just wanting to have the orange kind of show through a little bit, which you can see there it does. And so what I did was I filled those areas with the hot glue. I boiled it for like 15 minutes, and then I peeled the glue out, which just comes right off, and then I put it back in the dye for like a minute or two. I can't remember exactly what it was, just so these areas were just dyed very lightly, and then the rest was dyed darker. So I think it turned out all right. It's kind of cool. But you can see here, extremely deep carry pocket clip. The Inferno, you get the G10 S35 VN blade steel, and this is another, or not another, but this is a Grant and Gavin Hawk collaboration. And you got the Paul Boss heat treat, G&G Hawk, and this has this back strap lock. I can't remember what they call it exactly, but the action is just spectacular. I mean, this knife, let me get it down like this. I mean, it just swings back and forth. It's riding on bearings. One of the coolest knives that Buck has ever made. So this is one that I've gone back to in the present and started carrying again. Carries great. I can't remember the weight on it. It's like 3.5 ounces or something, and I think it's like a 3 3/4 inch blade. So I mean, it's a full size knife. Nice neutral grip. Just a stellar knife. One of my absolute all-time favorites. And you can buy this from SK Blades, this exact model, minus the RIT die, and like 120 bucks or something for S35 G10, American made, stellar action, just absolutely beautiful. And I screwed it up, but the hole in the blade, you know, you absolutely can Spidey flick, and you can thumb flick, you can do all the stuff. Super cool knife. Pocket clip is reversible. Just a great design. Amazing knife. If anyone out there, if you haven't checked out one of these, you need to, because it's a stellar piece from Buck. So so there, you know, that kind of sums up my my present in the knife world. You know, I'm kind of all over the place. I like them all. I'm not just into one thing. So, you know, as far as the future goes, I mean, there's some knives that I'm definitely excited about. I'm waiting on the Sharp by Design Void. I'm pretty excited about that one. I got in on that pre-order, and so I'm waiting on that knife to show up. You know, I'm hoping we'll see some stuff, more stuff like this in 2020. The Cold Steel 8015. I've handled an actual Demco 8015. It's a cool knife, don't get me wrong. But man, this thing is so close to the actual custom. And, you know, people can buy this thing for like 150 bucks. And it's done well. I mean, it's really great, and the action's great. And it gets you like 95% of the way there without having to drop $800 or $900, or, you know, I don't know what a full custom's going for, but maybe even over $1,000. I think his mid-techs were like $500 or $600 or something. But this is great. I love this. You know, it just affords people the opportunity to get something in their hands that is so close to the original at an affordable price. And, you know, maybe you do it with lesser materials. In my opinion, this one here is not even really done with lesser materials. I mean, it's spectacular. And I went ahead and dyed V scales as well. I also ground down that just absolute pocket eater of mill pattern that was done on that G10. I also polished the G10 so you get the different contrast between the flats and the ridges. So anyway, but stellar knife. And the Pena X series stuff, and the front flipper, which I actually should have grabbed that Pena, but anyway, I just have what I have out here, so I'm not gonna mess around. This video is already too long. So yeah, you know, I hope to see more stuff like this. Do, you know, custom knives that are made in a production setting. I think that's beautiful, and make them affordable so people can get their hands on them. The other thing that I want to see more of in 2020 is this kind of stuff right here. I mean, this is an absolutely beautiful knife with Damascus, and from my understanding, Civivi's doing 9CR Damascus, so it is a true stainless steel Damascus. And, you know, I can't remember what these sold for, 85 or 90 bucks, or maybe even less than that. I can't even remember. This is the Civivi Backlash. And just an absolutely gorgeous knife. This one is actually not mine, but it was loaned to me, and just a beautiful knife, as well as, you know, the shredder. Just amazing knives for money that just about anyone can afford. So I think that's great, and, you know, get more and more people buying knives like this instead of knives like these. You know, like I said, I don't even know where this came from. This was just in my box of junk. And yeah, you know, getting these things down into the $50, $60 price range just allows a lot more people to come into our hobby and see what it's all about, and actually get something that can get people excited about a knife. Anyone that bought this isn't excited about it. This thing's a piece of shit. It's not fun to deal with. There's nothing about this that is nice. And so nobody, you know, This is just garbage. This, on the other hand, is something that even a non-knife person will see that blade and, feel the action and be like, oh, wow, they know they got a hold of something that's pretty nice. And so I love the fact that we can get these knives for that kind of money. I think it's beautiful. So, and stuff coming out of TwoSun, same thing. Just absolutely gorgeous knives. I mean, look at the carbon on this thing. And, this knife you can pick up for, 60, 70 bucks. It's beautiful. That's a wonderful thing. Titanium, carbon fiber. And this one here is 12C27 blade steel. For those that don't know, I modified this one, but this happens to be the TwoSun TS-162. I think I might be wrong on that. Anyway, so yeah, I want to see great designs, affordable prices, and the other thing I want to see in the future is I'm going to bring back the Civivi for this. I want to see more hollow ground knives, and I want to see thinner blade stocks. There's just no reason to have these knives that have 1/4 inch. I know that was a big thing a few years ago, to have big, huge, massive blade stocks and whatever. I'm just not into it. I would rather have a knife that actually cuts. I'll get a pry bar and a chisel for those jobs that require that. Not a big deal. But if I'm going to carry a knife, I want it to actually cut things. And having really nice ground blades that actually have distal taper to them. And, I would love to see more hollow grinds. Spyderco, more hollow grinds would be fantastic. But, these knives, yeah, and I love the Mannix, but 25 or 30 thousandths behind the edge yeah, that stuff just needs to go away. We have the technology and the capability to do stuff like this that's 10 or 12 thousandths behind the edge all the way across and is hollow ground, and it's just beautifully done. Makes this knife just glide right through a ton of different medias. It's just beautiful. So better ground knives. I feel like fit and finish wise and stuff, we're really getting to a really great place in the knife world, and that's fantastic. We have these new brands like TwoSun, and you got things like CJRB and Artisan's budget line and Civivi, all these companies doing really great stuff. And I would love to see more stuff like this from U.S. manufacturers. Just stellar knives that are great designs, and yeah, for affordable money. This thing's just a fantastic knife. So yeah, guys, as far as new knives that I want to pick up, I'd really like to pick up the Quiet Carry Drift, and I think that one looks pretty cool. So I'll be looking for one of those. Hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on that. And otherwise, we'll just kind of see how it goes for 2020. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. I enjoyed making it. It's kind of fun to look at all these different things and just have a bunch of different stuff out on the screen. But anyway, check out, I got a bunch of links below. I'll link some of these knives down there. Some of the TwoSun stuff will be linked in there. The SAC, it's linked down there. So if you want to pick up any of the gear you ever see on my channel, check it out and check out the links below. You can find some good stuff there. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas and a fantastic New Year, and let's enjoy 2020. All right, guys. Peace. See you later.